You wake up every day believing you're in control of your thoughts. But here's the hidden truth. Most of your mind has been wired by habit, culture, and fear, not by wisdom. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca all saw it clearly. The mind is like a fortress, but most people leave its gates wide open. So let me ask you, if your mind is your greatest weapon, why live as if it's your greatest weakness? These 11 Stoic principles will rewire the way you think. They will strip away illusions, cut through fear, and give you a strength most people only dream of. If you let them, they can transform your life from the inside out. Principle 1. Master your perception. Everything you experience is filtered through your perception. Two people can face the same event. One sees disaster, the other sees opportunity. The difference, not reality, but perspective, suspense. But here's what nobody tells you. Your perception isn't neutral. It's shaped by your judgments, your fears, your desires, which means most of the time, you're not seeing life as it is. You're seeing it as your mind distorts it. Revelation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are pained by anything external, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your judgment of it. Change the judgment, and the pain disappears." Consequence. When you master perception, you master experience. You stop being a victim of circumstance and become the architect of meaning. So ask yourself now, is the problem you're facing real, or is it just the story you're telling yourself about it? Principle 2. Live by reason, not emotion. Emotions are powerful, but left unchecked, they are tyrants. Fear chains you, anger poisons you, desire enslaves you. The Stoics knew the mind must be ruled by reason if it's ever to be free. Suspense. But here's the trap. Most people worship their emotions. They treat them as truth, as if feeling something automatically makes it real. But does rage equal justice? Does fear equal danger? Does desire equal fulfillment? Revelation. Reason is the filter. Emotions may knock on your door, but reason decides if they enter. Consequence. When you live by reason, emotions stop ruling you. Anger visits but doesn't conquer. Fear rises but doesn't control. Desire tempts but doesn't enslave. And slowly, you discover freedom not from emotion but from emotional tyranny. So ask yourself, do you rule your emotions or do they rule you? Principle 3. Train through discomfort. Comfort is a drug, and most of the world is addicted. But the Stoics saw comfort for what it really is. Weakness disguised as pleasure. Suspense. Why? Because every moment you avoid discomfort, you strengthen fear. Every time you run from hardship, you weaken your spirit. Revelation. Seneca wrote about practicing poverty, deliberately living with less, so that when real hardship arrived, it would not break him. The Stoics didn't wait for difficulty to find them. They trained for it in advance. Consequence. When you train through discomfort, life loses its ability to surprise you. Cold, hunger, rejection, loss. You've tasted them before. They no longer terrify you. So ask yourself, when was the last time you trained your soul through deliberate hardship? Principle 4. Remember you will die. Memento mori. You live as if you'll never die. You delay your dreams. You postpone what matters. But the Stoics never let themselves forget. Death is always near. Suspense. You think this should make them fearful, but it did the opposite. Because once you accept death, you stop wasting life. Revelation. Memento mori. Remember you must die. It is not morbid. It is liberation. Death reminds you that every wasted moment is a theft you commit against yourself. Consequence. When you live with death in mind, you live urgently. You stop waiting. You speak what needs to be spoken. You do what must be done. Life becomes sharper, clearer, fearless. So ask yourself now, if this were your last year alive, how different would you live? Principle 5. Focus only on what you control. Most suffering comes from fighting battles that were never yours to win. The Stoics drew a line. Some things are in your control, others are not. Wisdom means knowing the difference. Suspense. But here's what most people never realize. When you waste your energy on the uncontrollable, you rob yourself of the power to master what is controllable. Revelation. Epictetus wrote, "Some things are up to us and some are not. Your thoughts, your actions, your character, these belong to you. The rest, fortune's territory." Consequence. When you stop trying to control what isn't yours, peace follows. You become unshakable, not because life is easy, but because you no longer fight the impossible. So ask yourself, in this struggle I face, what is truly mine to control, and what must I release? Principle 6. Virtue is the only true good. The Stoics believed that wealth, power, reputation, these are not true goods. They can help or harm depending on how they are used. The only true good is virtue. Wisdom, courage, justice, self-discipline. Suspense. But here's the hidden danger. Most people spend their lives chasing things that can vanish in an instant. Riches fade, status crumbles, bodies weaken. If your happiness depends on them, you will suffer endlessly. Revelation. Virtue alone is unshakable. It is the one treasure no thief can steal, no misfortune can destroy. Consequence. Once you rewire your mind to pursue virtue above all else, you stop being tossed by fortune's waves. You become steady, rooted, untouchable. So ask yourself, what am I really chasing? And will it still matter when everything else is gone? Principle 7. See obstacles as opportunities. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Suspense. At first, this sounds impossible. How can obstacles help you? They slow you down, frustrate you, block your path. But here's the paradox. The obstacle is not blocking your path. The obstacle is your path. Revelation. Every obstacle forces growth. It forces creativity, resilience, patience. The challenge is not the enemy. It is the raw material of strength. Consequence. When you see obstacles as opportunities, fear turns into fuel. Instead of asking, "Why me?" you ask, "What can this teach me?" And suddenly, every setback becomes an advantage in disguise. So ask yourself, what obstacle in front of me right now is secretly an opportunity? Principle 8. Accept fate without complaint. Amor fati. The Stoics didn't just accept fate, they loved it. Amor fati. Love your fate. Suspense. But how can you love something painful, unfair, even tragic? Because resistance is what multiplies suffering. When you fight reality, you bleed twice. Revelation. Amor fati means seeing everything, joy and pain, gain and loss, as necessary threads in the fabric of your life. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is meaningless. Consequence. The moment you stop cursing fate and start embracing it, peace enters. Life no longer feels like a punishment. It becomes a gift, even in hardship. So ask yourself, what part of my fate am I resisting? And what would change if I chose to love it instead? Principle 9. Guard your mind from corruption. Marcus warned, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Suspense. But here's what most people never see. Your mind is constantly being colored by the voices you let in. Media, gossip, toxic people. They are pouring their dye into your soul. Revelation. Guarding your mind doesn't mean isolation. It means choosing carefully what you consume, who you surround yourself with, and what ideas you allow to take root. Consequence. When you guard your mind, you protect your fortress. No enemy can corrupt you from within. And slowly, your thoughts begin to shine with clarity, strength, and virtue. So ask yourself, what thoughts am I letting color my soul today? Principle 10. Practice gratitude in all things. Gratitude wasn't just a moral duty for the Stoics, it was a weapon. Suspense. Why? Because dissatisfaction is endless. You can have everything and still feel poor if you are blind to what you already possess. Gratitude rewires that blindness. Revelation. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present, from scarcity to abundance, from resentment to peace. Consequence: when you practice gratitude, fear loses its grip, envy dies, and joy rises naturally. Gratitude is not weakness, it is armor. So ask yourself, what blessing have I ignored today that deserves my gratitude? Principle 11. Live according to nature. For the Stoics, living according to nature meant aligning with reason, virtue, and the order of the universe. Suspense. But what happens when you fight against nature? You demand permanence in a world of change. You demand control in a world of chaos. You demand fairness in a world that gives no guarantees. And every demand deepens your suffering. Revelation. To live according to nature is to walk in harmony with reality, to accept change, embrace impermanence, and act with virtue no matter what. Consequence: when you align with nature, resistance ends. You flow with life instead of fighting it. You find freedom, even in chaos. So ask yourself, am I fighting against life or walking with it? The Stoics weren't gods. They were human. They bled, they failed, they suffered, but they rewired their minds with principles so strong that nothing could break them. And that is your invitation, to stop living as a slave to fear, anger, and illusion, and start living as the master of your own mind. Because here's the truth. The next principle is not in a book. It's in your choices. And what you do after this moment could change the entire direction of your life. If these principles resonate with you, imagine how much more you'll discover on this journey. Subscribe and walk with us through the wisdom of the Stoics. If you've stayed until now, you've already proven your pursuit of transformation. Like this video, share it, and let's grow together. The next lesson may surprise you even more. What comes next could rewire the way you see life forever.